Well, hey, video game fans. We are back with more Shacknews Awards deliberations. This time, we're going to talk about the most overlooked game of 2021. So, who wants to kick this off?
I'll start it up.
Oh, go for it, Chris.
For this year, for me, I'm going to go with Subnautica, the new. It's not an expansion, the Ice sequel, whatever it's called.
Below Zero, I think.
Yeah.
Below
So
Zero.
the original game was a PC early access title that eventually, over the course of like 8 years, made its way to all the other platforms, and people came along to the title at different times. But I think it's pretty much universal. Everybody agrees it's probably one of the most outstanding survival adventure games to come along the pipe. The sequel is everything the original game was, and improvements in a lot of ways, a lot more creative stuff for base building, things like that. And the jump to where they made it where you go on land part of the time with the cold mechanic and the ice and all that was a nice wrinkle. And the release kind of came and went. And it was also in early access like the previous game was, which I think kind of hurt some of the oomph it could have had when it initially launched. But I just thought this is a really high quality game that's just kind of.
I remember people were confused about the release date of it because it was on Epic Game Store, and I think they only listed the early release of it, so people thought the game was out when it wasn't. And I think that frustrated some people, but yeah, that's not really their fault. But it could have led to this being overlooked, is what I'm saying. That's a good nomination. I love the original Subnautica. I haven't had a chance to play Below Zero, so clearly I've overlooked it. Who else has a nomination here?
I think because everyone has moved on to the next gen hotness, that a lot of people might have overlooked Neo: The World Ends With You. That is a very solid RPG. It's probably one of the best RPGs of the year, but I don't think a lot of people touched it because it's a PS4 game. It's a Switch game, and I think between all the other big releases that were coming out this year, I think it got largely ignored. Even it came out on PC, and I don't think a lot of people on PC picked it up. The thing that really got me wanting to nominate this was that sad report I read a few weeks ago that said that it underperformed in sales, and I was like, that's really too bad because this is a great story. It's a great story. It's a great RPG, and I had a lot of fun with it. So.
There's a second part to that too. It's the fact that Square Enix did not give that game the marketing
they didn't promote
to survive
at all. Yeah,
like that. The World Ends With You is a very niche style of RPG, and for that game to like be that game needed to be put out there, put in people's faces, explained, maybe some tutorial videos, maybe some combat videos, but it needed far more than what Square Enix gave it.
It seemed like Nintendo gave it more pub than Square did.
Yeah, they did.
It was featured in directs. Like they had some trailers on their channels. Like they promoted it on social. I definitely remember seeing it, on like Switch marketing more than I did Square marketing, which to your point, I think led to why it was overlooked. Anyone else got a nomination?
I had one, and then Ozzy brought up The World Ends With You.
A game that Sam sold me on in another category, Lemniscate. A sort of turn-based style shooter seems right up my alley. Really strategic, combined with impactful game feel. That's something I would really like to try, and I hadn't even heard of it until he nominated it, and I'm very interested in trying it.
I'm going to nominate Riders Republic again, because I feel like that game's going to just disappear if I don't keep talking about it. It's like Tinkerbell or something. Like I have to believe in Riders Republic or else it'll disappear. But yeah, I think Riders Republic is... I may not be the biggest fan of Ubisoft, the company, or the corporate governance, or most of their games. So for me to talk about a Ubisoft game this much during the Shacknews Awards deliberations kind of speaks to this being a little different. And I think that there was a lot of effort put into this game. Like if you watch the opening scene of that game, they list, I believe it's almost every Ubisoft studio was involved in some way in the development of that game, because they did this amazing recreation of all these different landmarks from around the world. especially in the United States. But yeah, it's really something else. I think Riders Republic is going to kind of be overlooked, in the long run. But yeah. Anybody else got a nomination? Nope. Okay, we're going to vote. I'll start with you, Chris.
I'm going to stick with Subnautica Below Zero.
Yeah, that's a good nomination. I'll pass for now. Blake.
You know what? Out of all of these games, the only one that I think I would go back to is Riders Republic. It's fun. Like, the things that I enjoy about it. Like, and I appreciate that I can just go and fly around.
That's another box quote if I ever heard one. The things I enjoy about it, I enjoy it. Blake.
Yeah.
7 out of 10.
I didn't review it. But yeah, 7 out of 10 sounds about right for me. Just not, but like, like one of the things that I do enjoy about it is flying around on a rocket pad, going to all the different landmarks and finding things hidden around the open world.
Mm-hmm.
More so than doing any of the stuff that it kind of wants me to do. And it doesn't, for the fact that I'm not like force fed that stuff, I really appreciate that.
I will say this though, there are like puzzle aspects of the game, like they're more challenge based single player things that you can do that you don't have to participate in the races to do them, and you also can level up your XP that way. So there are like different ways to level up in that game that don't force you down that you have to complete every race path. And I think that's a huge selling point for me.
Yeah, and the mass races would be a lot cooler if they fix the way that you fall and get back up.
Collision detection desperately needs to be patched in that, but because it's 64 players in a race, and you're all on bicycles or snowboards or whatever, and it can get messy, but it does work with its bugs. Like so many games shipped this year where they barely even work. And for me to see this Ubisoft game ship that has elements of The Crew 2 in it, or some other games that they may have made in the past, like it feels like they've learned from their mistakes with this one, and I feel like it's not getting this due. I
think it is like learning from their mistakes, and I think that's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I'll give them credit for that as well.
And I brought it up in other categories, but their teleport mechanic to get to your other players in your party should be copied by any other open world multiplayer game.
Forza, cough.
Yeah, Forza would. Multiplayer in Forza would be nice.
You can teleport anywhere you want in Forza.
Yeah, but with your friends.
Yeah, they're the green dots.
Can't even. I don't know. Bill messaged me this weekend about how it took him forever to get into a party with his friends.
I forever in the sense that it never happened to this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're getting at here. But let's not throw shade at that game. I'm sure they're working on it. But they're not eligible for this because it wasn't very overlooked. It was one of the most successful Xbox launches of all time if you look at units downloaded. Bill, what you got here?
I'm gonna go with the game that I intended to play and forgot existed until Chris brought it up. Below Zero.
Subnautica Below Zero. Ozzy, you gonna go with Neo?
I am gonna go with Neo. The World Ends With You. Square Enix put more effort into promoting the Chaos Killing game demo, and that didn't even work.
Mm-hmm. Accurate. TJ, what you got?
I'm going with Neo. The World Ends With You. The real tragedy of like that game not getting the rub from Square Enix itself is that it's going to disincentivize them to create outlandish, cool RPGs like that that are not part of the Final Fantasy universe.
It's so different, like both narratively and like in terms of combat. It's so different from everything else that they do,
and it deserved so much more than it was ever given.
Yeah, I like that they took a chance with that, but they obviously didn't have a lot of confidence in it because they didn't put any marketing dollars behind it.
Yeah.
Greg, what you got?
Everyone's making such good points. Can I pass? I'm still thinking about it and processing everyone's points.
No, you're not allowed to pass this time.
Oh, okay.
You used your pass last time and you ruined everything.
I'll do Subnautica then.
There you go. Donovan, what you got?
I was gonna go Subnautica as well. I heard a lot of good things about the game when it came out, and then I completely forgot it was a 2021 release. So
Chris, was that like a February launch or something?
It was early, right before spring, I believe.
Yeah,
And it had been in early access for over a year. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
went
games
1.0
tend to
this year.
get lost in the shuffle, I think, because so much of the news cycle and game releases happens March and on. So if you release in that first quarter, sometimes people forget. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good nomination.
especially
Okay,
new
John.
launches coming out of early access, people
Mhm.
don't care that much.
Yeah,
but
Long Dark was like that.
Yeah,
And then-
Long Dark is definitely like that. But I'd say we do a good job of covering that. Yeah, Danny, what you got here?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Subnautica. Actually had a good time with that on stream. Below Zero was a pretty awesome experience.
Nice. David, are you sticking with Lemniscate?
I am.
And I think Sam would have too. So I'm gonna just put that down.
Sam actually messaged me frantically making sure that we did not forget to talk about Lemniscate. So
We did talk about Lemniscate. We
Yep.
heard it. We heard him. He was heard. Sam, don't worry.
We got
Your
you,
vote,
Sam.
your meaningless vote was counted. So that's it. We have a winner. It is Subnautica Below Zero. It is our Shacknews most overlooked game of the year 2021.